Welcome back, Patriots. This is part 2 of our Trump first year report card. If you are just joining us and didn't listen to part 1, stop. Go back and listen to part 1 first. We covered Trump's first 10 promises, and you need that context before we dive into the final 10. For everyone who's been with us from the start, thanks for sticking around. We are picking up right where we left off. In part 1, we graded Trump on border security, deportations, inflation, energy, manufacturing, tax cuts, constitutional freedoms, world peace, ending weaponization, and stopping cartels. Now, in part 2, we are tackling the final 10 promises: rebuilding cities, military strength, the dollar, Social Security, regulations, critical race theory, women's sports, campus radicals, election security, and unity. Then we will calculate Trump's final GPA and give you the big picture. Let's finish this. Here we go. Promise number 11. Rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. On this, I give Trump a C+. Trump didn't just talk about rebuilding cities. He took aggressive action. But the results are mixed. Trump deployed the National Guard to multiple cities in 2025. Washington, D.C., over 2,000 National Guard troops have been patrolling the nation's capital since August. They are still there as of December 31st. Los Angeles. Trump sent National Guard troops to L.A. in June during protests and ICE operations. A federal judge blocked the deployment, and troops were withdrawn. New Orleans. In December, Trump sent troops to New Orleans at the request of Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry. The city was experiencing elevated crime, and 5,000 immigration arrests were planned. Chicago. Trump planned to send thousands of National Guard troops to Chicago. He called it a mess and said residents were screaming for federal help. But Democrat Governor J.B. Pritzker refused to cooperate, and federal courts blocked the deployment. Portland, Oregon. Trump authorized deployment, but a federal judge blocked it, citing concerns about using military for civilian law enforcement. As of today, Trump withdrew plans to deploy to Chicago, L.A., and Portland after the Supreme Court rejected his request, but he left the door open to return in a much different and stronger form. Operation Midway Blitz. In Chicago, Trump launched Operation Midway Blitz, a massive ICE operation targeting criminal aliens. It included Black Hawk helicopters, overnight raids, aggressive enforcement tactics, 500 National Guard troops, blocked by courts. Critics called it authoritarian. Supporters said it was necessary to restore order. The results? Well, here's where it gets complicated, Patriots. Crime statistics. Let's look at that. Chicago homicides are down 31% year over year. Shootings down 40%. But is that because of Trump's actions or local policing? Kind of unclear. Trump claims his National Guard presence greatly reduced crime in LA, Chicago, and Portland. Democrat mayors dispute that and say crime was already falling. Every single deployment faced lawsuits. Democrat governors and mayors fought Trump every step of the way. Federal judges sided with Democrats, blocking deployments under the Posse Comitatus Act, which limits military involvement in domestic law enforcement. The Supreme Court ruled that Trump can't federalize the National Guard just to protect ICE agents. That was a major legal setback. So why not higher than a C+? Because Trump's efforts were blocked at every turn. Yes, he tried to deploy the troops. Yes, he sent them to D.C. and New Orleans. But Chicago, Portland, L.A., all blocked. And has he actually rebuilt the cities? No, they are still struggling with homelessness, crime, and decay. Deploying troops isn't the same as fixing infrastructure, cleaning up tent cities, or revitalizing downtown areas. Trump's taking action, but Democrat resistance and court losses have limited the results. Well, why not lower than a C+? Because Trump's doing more than any recent president to address urban crime. He's willing to deploy federal forces. He's pressuring sanctuary cities. He's making cities a priority even when Democrat mayors fight him. The grade is C+ because Trump's trying and achieving some success, but legal and political resistance has prevented full implementation. Promise number 12. strengthen and modernize our military, making it without question the strongest and most powerful in the world. I give Trump a B+ on this. Patriots, Trump's always been strong in the military, and his first year back, solid progress. Trump pushed through a defense budget increase despite resistance from Democrats who wanted to spend more money on welfare instead of defense. The budget funded new fighter jets, naval vessels, hypersonic missiles, and modernization of our nuclear arsenal. America's military-industrial base is rebuilding. Under Biden, military recruitment was in crisis. The Army missed its targets. Young Americans didn't want to serve under a woke commander-in-chief who cared more about pronouns than lethality. Trump changed that. The Coast Guard hit 121% of its recruiting goals, the highest since 1991. Secret Service applications surged 46%. Border Patrol hiring increased 84%. Why? Because Trump made serving your country honorable again. Trump ended the military's DEI programs. No more diversity quotas. No more critical race theory training. No more drag shows on military bases. No more taxpayer-funded sex change operations. The military's job is to kill enemies and break things. Trump refocused the Pentagon on lethality. Trump fast-tracked development of hypersonic missiles to counter China and Russia. He expanded drone programs. He invested in AI-powered weapon systems. He approved funding for the B-21 Raider stealth bomber and new Columbia-class nuclear submarines. Trump deployed additional naval assets to the Pacific. He strengthened alliances with Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines. He made clear that America will defend Taiwan. So, why not an A? Because full modernization takes years. Trump started the process, but new submarines won't be operational until the 2030s. New fighter jets take a decade to develop. Also, Trump hasn't fully rebuilt the military-industrial base. We are still dependent on foreign suppliers for some critical components. That needs to change. But overall, Trump's making the military strong again. That's a B+. Promise number 13. Keep the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. I give Trump a B. This promise is critical, Patriots. If the dollar loses reserve currency status, America's power collapses. We can't print money to pay our debts. We can't sanction enemies. Our entire economy depends on the dollar's dominance. The dollar is still the world's reserve currency. About 60% of global foreign exchange reserves are held in dollars. Most international trade is conducted in dollars. OPEC still prices oil in dollars. Trump policies haven't destroyed dollar dominance. But Trump's tariffs created uncertainty. When Trump imposed massive tariffs on China and other countries, some nations started exploring alternatives. China expanded use of the yuan in international trade. Russia pushed for settlement in rubles. BRICS nation, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, discussed creating a new reserve currency to challenge the dollar. Did it happen? No, but the conversation is happening, and that's a warning sign. Trump threatened countries that try to abandon the dollar. He said, any nation that moves away from the dollar will face tariffs and loss of access to U.S. markets. Well, that's a strong deterrence. He also struck trade deals like the China deal that reinforced dollar dominance by requiring transactions in dollars. Here's the real threat to the dollar. America's $37 trillion national debt. If countries lose confidence in America's ability to pay, they will dump dollars. Trump's spending bills, including the One Big Beautiful Bill, add to that debt. The Congressional Budget Office projects $3.4 trillion in deficits over 10 years just from Trump's tax cuts. That's unsustainable, and it threatens the dollar more than any foreign currency. So, why did I give him a B? The dollar remains dominant. Trump defended it aggressively, but the long-term trends are worrying. Trump needs to address the debt crisis, or the dollar's dominance is at risk. Promise number 14. Fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare with no cuts, including no changes to the retirement age. Patriots, this is one of Trump's easiest promises to keep, and he kept it. Trump didn't cut Social Security, he didn't cut Medicare, he didn't raise the retirement age, period. In fact, he expanded benefits for seniors with the additional $6,000 tax deduction for Americans 65 and older. That's real money back in seniors' pockets. Every election cycle, Democrats claim Republicans will end Social Security and Medicare. It's a lie they have been telling for decades. Trump proved it's a lie, he protected both programs, and he did it while also cutting taxes and boosting the economy. Social Security and Medicare face long-term solvency issues. The trust funds are projected to run out in the 2030s. When that happens, benefits will be cut automatically unless Congress acts. Trump didn't solve that problem yet, but he also didn't make it worse by cutting benefits now. His strategy? Grow the economy faster than the debt. If GDP grows and more people work, more payroll taxes fund Social Security and Medicare. That extends the program's solvency. Is it a perfect solution? No. But it's better than cutting benefits or raising taxes. So I am giving Trump an A on this. Why an A? Because Trump kept his promise completely. Seniors got everything Trump promised and more. No cuts, no retirement age increase, and a tax break on top of it. This is a full promise kept. Promise number 15. Cancel the electric vehicle mandate and cut costly and burdensome regulations. Patriots, this promise crushed it. On day one, Trump ended Biden's electric vehicle mandate. Biden's EPA rule requiring that 56% of new car sales by 2032 be electric vehicles. Trump killed it. No more forcing Americans to buy EVs. No more subsidizing overpriced electric cars that don't work in cold weather and take hours to charge. The market can decide. If people want EVs, they will buy them. If they don't, they won't. Freedom. Trump's Department of Energy proposed eliminating 47 regulations. The estimated savings? $11 billion for American consumers. What regulations did he cut? Shower head restrictions, toilet flush limits, washing machine efficiency rules, light bulb mandates, dishwasher standards. These are the stupid regulations that made your shower feel like a trickle and your toilet require 3 flushes. Trump brought back water pressure and common sense. Trump issued an executive order directing agencies to empower consumer choice. Translation, stop telling Americans what appliances they can buy. Biden's rules would have banned gas stoves. Trump said, hell no. You want a gas stove? Buy a gas stove. Trump rolled back EPA rules on coal plants, gas plants, and power generation. He ended the war on fossil fuels. He let American energy flow. Environmentalists are melting down. They claim Trump's putting the planet at risk. They say we'll all die from climate change. But Americans don't care. They care about affording their electric bills. They care about choosing their own appliances. They care about freedom. Trump gets an A on the EV mandate promise. Why? Because Trump delivered everything he promised. EV mandate, gone. Burdensome regulations, slashed. Consumer choice, restored. This is a complete, unqualified success. Promise number 16. Cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, radical gender ideology, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children. Patriots, Trump took on the education establishment and made real progress. Trump issued executive orders cutting federal funding to schools that teach critical race theory or push transgender ideology on kids. He banned schools from forcing teachers to use incorrect pronouns. He prohibited biological males from using girls' bathrooms and locker rooms in federally funded schools. He ended DEI programs in public schools that received federal money. The problem? Many states, especially blue states like California, New York, and Illinois, are ignoring Trump's orders. They are suing in federal court. They are claiming Trump doesn't have authority to withhold funding, and liberal judges are blocking Trump's enforcement. Trump reversed Biden's Title IX rewrite that redefined sex to include gender identity. Biden's rule would have forced schools to let boys compete in girls' sports and use girls' facilities. Trump killed it. Title IX now protects girls again. Trump has talked about eliminating the Department of Education entirely and returning control to the states. But that requires Congress. And even with Republican majorities, it is a tough fight. In year one, Trump focused on executive actions. Abolishing the Department of Education is a year two goal. So I give Trump a B. And why a B? Well, Trump's trying. He's issued the orders. He's fighting the fight. But blue states are resisting. Schools are still teaching CRT in many places. Kids are still being indoctrinated. Trump needs to win the court battles and enforce his orders more aggressively. Until then, it's a solid B. Promise number 17. Keep men out of women's sports. Patriots, this promise? Complete victory. Trump signed an executive order on day one banning biological males from competing in women's sports at any level that receives federal funding. That includes public schools, colleges, and universities. If you take federal money, you cannot let boys compete against girls. Period. Trump's rollback of Biden's Title IX rewrite reinforced this. Sex means biological sex, not gender identity, not how you feel. Girls' sports are for girls. Boys' sports are for boys. It's common sense. The NCAA is fighting back. They are claiming Trump's order is discriminatory. Some conferences are threatening to boycott championships if Trump enforces the ban. Trump's response? Fine. No federal funding for you. Red states are passing laws backing Trump's policy. Florida, Texas, Tennessee, and others have banned biological males from women's sports at the state level. Blue states? They are still allowing it, but they can't use federal money to do it. So this isn't just policy. It's a cultural victory. Trump made it acceptable to say out loud that men don't belong in women's sports. For years, conservatives were afraid to say it. They'd be called transphobic or bigoted. Trump said it anyway, and Americans agreed. Polls show that over 70% of Americans oppose biological males in women's sports. Trump's on the right side of this. So I give Trump an A, an easy A. Why? Because Trump kept his promise completely. Men are banned from women's sports in federally funded programs. Girls are protected. Yes, the NCAA is resisting, but Trump has the law and the people on his side. Full marks, A. Promise number 18. Deport pro-Hamas radicals and make our college campuses safe and patriotic again. Patriots, this promise was a response to the disgusting pro-Hamas protests that took over college campuses after October 7, 2023. Students chanting from the river to the sea, professors celebrating terrorism, radicals calling for the destruction of Israel and the death of Jews. Trump promised to deport them. Has he? Trump revoked visas for foreign students and activists who expressed support for Hamas or other terrorist organizations. Trump's message was clear. If you support terrorism, you are not welcome in America. DHS implemented enhanced vetting for visa applicants. They are now monitoring foreign students' social media accounts to identify support for terrorist organizations. If you post pro-Hamas content, denied entry or deported. Trump threatened to pull federal funding from universities that allow anti-Semitism or don't protect Jewish students. Some universities responded by banning pro-Hamas groups. Others are still resisting. Critics say Trump's policy violates free speech. They claim supporting Hamas is political speech protected by the First Amendment. Trump's response? The First Amendment doesn't protect foreign nationals, and supporting terrorism isn't free speech. It's material support for terrorism. I gave Trump a A- on this one. Because Trump's made significant progress. Dozens of pro-Hamas radicals have been arrested or deported. Universities are on notice. But college campuses aren't fully safe and patriotic yet. Pro-Hamas protests still happen. Some universities still tolerate anti-Semitism. Trump needs to keep the pressure on, but he's delivered on the core promise: deporting radicals who support terrorism. Promise number 19. Secure our elections, including same-day voting, voter ID, paper ballots, and proof of citizenship. Patriots, this promise is mostly unfulfilled, and it's not entirely Trump's fault. Election security is controlled by states and Congress, not the president. Trump can advocate, he can pressure, but he can't force states to implement voter ID or same-day voting. Trump created a White House Election Integrity Commission. He pushed Republican governors and state legislators to pass election security laws. He advocated for paper ballots, voter ID, proof of citizenship, and same-day voting. He called out states like California and Pennsylvania for having weak election laws. Red states responded. Florida, Georgia, and Texas tightened their election laws. They required voter ID. They banned ballot harvesting. They cleaned up voter rolls. But blue states? They went the opposite direction. They expanded mail-in voting. They opposed voter ID. They registered non-citizens even in some cases. Trump needs Congress to pass federal election security laws. But even with Republican majorities in the House and Senate, it is hard. Democrats filibuster. Moderate Republicans resist. The Supreme Court might strike down federal mandates as violations of state sovereignty. So, why did I give Trump a C on this? Well, because the promise is mostly unfulfilled at the national level. Yes, some states have better election security, but America as a whole doesn't have same-day voting, nationwide voter ID, or mandatory paper ballots. Trump's trying, but this requires legislative action that he doesn't have yet. It's a C for incomplete. And finally, promise number 20. Unite our country by bringing it to new and record levels of success. Patriots, let me be blunt. This is Trump's hardest promise, and he's not succeeding. Trump is bringing America to record levels of success in some areas. Border security, historic, energy production, record-breaking, Middle East peace, achieved. By traditional metrics, GDP growth, stock market gains, low unemployment, America is succeeding. But is America united? Absolutely not. Half the country loves Trump, half the country hates him. Democrats call him a fascist. The media attacks him daily. Blue states sue him constantly. Protests happen every time he visits a city. Part of it is Trump's style. He's combative. He attacks his enemies. He doesn't sugarcoat. That energizes his base, but alienates moderates and independents. Part of it is the media. They lie about Trump constantly. They take his words out of context. They create division deliberately. Part of it is Democrats. They refuse to work with Trump on anything. Even when he proposes policies they agree with, they oppose him out of spite. So, can Trump unite America? Honestly, Patriots, probably not. The country is too divided. The left hates Trump too much. They'd rather see America fail than give Trump credit. Trump's strategy seems to be deliver results so undeniable that even his critics have to admit he's succeeding, and then hope that shared prosperity brings unity. Will it work? Well, we'll see. For on unity, I give Trump a C-, because Trump's delivering success, but not unity, and the promise was both. Americans are more divided than ever. That's partly Trump's fault, partly the media's fault, partly Democrats' fault, but regardless of whose fault it is, the country is not united. That's a C-. All right, Patriots. So when I came up with this idea for a report card, in my head I was thinking a 30-minute episode, and then I started researching some more and finding this and finding that, and next thing I know, this just blew out of proportion. But I feel like everything I covered was important, and I wanted to make sure that it all got into the episode. And hence why halfway through this process of recording, I realized I needed to break this into 2 episodes. So, with regards to Trump's grades, we got one thing left to do, and that's to give a GPA. So let's run down what my scores were and the equivalent GPA for each of these. So, border security, A, 4.0. Deportations, B+, 3.3. Inflation, C+, 2.3. Energy dominance, A-, 3.7. Manufacturing, B-, 2.7. Tax cuts and no taxes on tips, B+, 3.3. Constitutional freedoms, B, 3.0. World peace, A-, 3.7. End weaponization, B-, 2.7. Crime and cartels, A-, 3.7. Rebuild cities, C+, 2.3. Military, B+, 3.3. Dollar reserve currency, B, 3.0. Social Security and Medicare, A, 4.0. EV mandate and regulations, A, 4.0. Critical race theory, B, 3.0. Women's sports, A, 4.0. Campus radicals, A-, 3.7. Election security, C, 2.0. Unity, C-, 1.7. Total grade points, that all added up to 63.4. Number of promises, 20. So your GPA is calculated at 3.17. So, Patriots, Trump's GPA is 3.17. That's a solid B. Not perfect, not failing, solid. So what does this mean, Patriots? Trump's crushing it on border security, energy, and social issues. He's protecting American sovereignty. He's defending traditional values. He's keeping campaign promises that matter most to his base. He's also destroying China's economic dominance, cutting their share of U.S. imports from 22% down to under 10% in just 1 year. That's a generational shift in trade policy. But he's struggling on inflation and unity. Prices are still higher than when he took office. The tariff strategy caused short-term economic pain. And bringing America together, that's the hardest promise of all. Here's what surprises me. Trump's doing better on policy than on politics. His actions are strong. His results are mixed in the short term, but promising for the long term. But his communication, it's still divisive. Does a 3.17 GPA make Trump a good president? Well, I think so. He's executing on the big promises. He's taking on hard challenges, like ending our dependence on China, that other presidents were too weak to tackle. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. But remember, we are grading year 1 of a 4-year term. Trump's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. The question for year 2 is, can Trump build on his wins and fix his weaknesses? Can he turn that inflation C+ into a B? Can he get those manufacturing jobs created as the new factories come online? Can he unite Americans around shared prosperity? Well, we will see, Patriots. We will see. So, again, final grade, 3.17 GPA, B average. Well, Patriots, that's our show for today. Trump's first year GPA, 3.17, a solid B average. Some wins, some losses, but overall, real progress, especially on breaking China's grip on our economy and securing our border. This is the first episode of 2026, and we are starting strong. Go ahead and hit that subscribe, follow, and or like button. Check out O'Connor's Quick Strike on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for rapid-fire news. This podcast airs Tuesday and Thursdays. Find us on X at O'Connor Podcasts. Share this episode with friends. Let's keep the conversation going. Have a great rest of your day, Patriots, and a Happy New Year. Until next Tuesday, hold the line unapologetically. This is John O'Connor, signing off.